everyone, and welcome to one of our series of webinars for this year. And this is going to be the last webinar for this year, and it's mainly about streamlining your structural and architectural BIM model checking workflows using Verified. As I mentioned, this is going to be our last part of this year's webinars, where we've created some workflows to streamline the model checking process for different disciplines. In the last one, we talked about the MEP. In this one, we're going to talk a bit about the structural and the architectural one. Before we start, there are some housekeeping rules. Of course, we can use the chat sections to ask questions. Also, you can feel free to drop them in the chat. At the end of this session, there will be some time for live Q&A, and of course, the recording will be sent to the participants after the webinar. A quick intro about myself. I'm War Turkiye, Customer Success Manager of Verified here at Xinaps. I've been involved in the AEC industry and digital construction for a while. And I've been involved also in BIM model auditing, model checking, quality control, and CDE management. The agenda for today is that we're going to have a quick intro about Verified, and then we're going to showcase the regular workflow about Verified, the integrated workflow that we offer. And of course, we're going to discuss the structural and architectural model checking process on Verified. And that's going to be right before diving into the demo, where we're going to showcase how the model checking process would look like. And at the end, of course, as we always do, we have a couple of updates that we would like to share with you. So without further ado, let's get started. So let me first introduce our product, Verified. It's our cloud-based model checker, which automates different types of checks to validate the health of your BIM model in the browser. Now, Verified is based on an advanced rule-based engine where you can have much more than a clash detection tool. You can have different types of checks over there. Of course, our smart algorithms allows us to support seamlessly open BIM processes, so we can support open workflows using IFC, and we support also Revit files. Of course, it's not only clash detection. We can do also data validation for our models. We can do it in an automated way. So let's start by describing the workflow of Verified. It's an integrated workflow, which means that we start first by having our different file formats, our BIM models. We get them ready, and then we integrate Verified with one of the common data environments that we're integrated with. Verified is integrated with most of the common data environments, and I would say the key players in the industry. So from BIM 360, ACC, Trimble Connect, Procore, Aconex, all of these ones are seamlessly integrated with Verified, which allows us to read the information in real time and, of course, validate them within our browser. And then we report them using one of the reporting tools that Verified supports. So we can export to Excel, CSV, or we can just integrate to one of the existing issue tracking systems, from the coordination issues in Procore to BCF topics in Trimble Connect, and of course, BIM 360, New Pharma Connect, and BIM Collab. So these are the ones that we support. And of course, this is how the integrated workflow on Verified looks like. Now regarding, let's make it more specific. So now we're going to talk about the structural and the architectural workflow. So we start first in the design process, where we have our BIM models, whether we have Revit or IFC, and then we import them to our CDE. In the case of this webinar, I've uploaded all our files, or let's say I've collaborated my Revit files into one of the Autodesk CDEs, BIM 360. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to validate them using the checks, the variety of checks that exist on Verified. And of course, the results that we're going to get from these checks, we're going to report them using the reporting tool on Verified. And of course, as I told you, we can do that in different ways. We can export it to Excel, CSV, or we can connect it to an issue tracking system. Now, in our case, we can do it on BIM 360 since all of our workflow is going to be on Autodesk. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you Verified. Now this is the homepage of Verified. As you can see, I'm connecting on my browser. I'm using Google Chrome. You can use any browser out there. And of course, you can use Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, any browser you're comfortable with. But as soon as you log into Verified, you will see the homepage where you can see on the left bar the typical workflow. And these are the processes that we're going to go through during this demo. So first, organize where we have our models. And let's say the integration with the CDE, which is BIM 360 in this case. And then we're going to classify using the data viewer, and our filters. And then we're going to start validating these elements and these filters using rules. And at the end, of course, we're going to report it to one of the issue tracking systems. So I'm going to go to my projects. So I've already prepared a project and I imported it from my BIM 360 account. So for those who don't know, we're going to work on the Snowdon project. Snowdon project is a Revit 2024 template project. It contains different disciplines from architectural, structural, MEP, and all of that. And I feel that this is an interesting project to work on. So, and of course, we can add a project to Verified by clicking over here and choose the CDE. And I've already done that by going to Autodesk and choose the Snowdon Towers. So I'm going to click over here so we can open the project to see the main icons for the project homepage. Of course, here, the project people where we can add our team members to work with us and collaborate also on this model. So I'm going to go to the models from here. And this is our main interface. So on the left, you can see the model browser where I have my Revit files for this specific project loaded from my BIM 360 account. So if I just go real quick to my BIM 360. So over here, I have my BIM 360 account, and you can see I already have some files which are collaborated through the cloud. The architectural one, the structural one, and these are the ones that we're going to use for this session. So I'm going to go to my verified account one more time. I also have Revit open on the side in case we would like to make some changes and then collaborate them to the cloud and get the latest updates on Verified. As I told you, Verified offers an automated workflow where we don't need any manual work to be done. So we don't need to actually download a file or re-upload it to another platform. So I'm going to select the architectural and the structural files, add them to the model set builder. Now the model set builder is our tool to create a federated model. So we will just give them a couple of seconds to load. And as you can see over here in the yellow and the green and the gray ones, these circles indicate the version of this file. As you can see, the architectural one comes in V3, which means that we have 3 versions for this specific model. For the structural one, we have 2. And of course, if I choose always latest, then I can just real-time sync my models. I can see some spaces over here, but that's completely fine. As we go through the file, they will just disappear, but they won't affect our process in any way. Of course, we can just clear it up from here and load them again, but just for the sake of time, I'm just going to keep it. Okay, let's go to the data viewer. Now, the data viewer is our tool to show all the elements that we have in the model, in this federated model, but according to specific attributes, of course. So if I click on any element over here, and then I go to properties, you will see the element properties on the right. Now with Verified, of course, we can access all the information, whether we have shared parameters, type parameters, all of these attributes will be loaded into Verified, which we can use, of course, later on for filters, data views, and also the rules. Okay, now as you can see, we have 10,602 elements, which are coming from the architectural and the structural models, and we're showing them according to the model name, level, category, name, and all the other attributes. And of course, using the data viewer, we can group all the elements. We can do quantity takeoff from here. So as you can see here, we have total, which allows us to make a summation of the numeric values. And we can do that for volumes and areas and all of that. That helps us in quantity takeoff. And of course, the results that we have in the data viewer can be exported into Excel or CSV. Okay. What we can also do with the data viewer is that, for instance, let me select a group which has some interesting elements. Okay, let's choose columns. So from columns, I'm just going to go and isolate. And as you can see, you will see all the columns. Now, these are not structural columns, as I see. These are the architectural ones. So if I just go a bit further, yes, here we have the structural columns. If I would like to show all the columns that I have in the model, then I'll just click on isolate. And there you go. You can see that we have some architectural columns on top of the structural columns. Okay, perfect. So this is for data views. Let's go to filters. As you can see, I'm progressing through the sidebar over here. So with filters, we can classify the elements. For instance, I would like to show all the windows. I can just run this filter. And because I've grouped all the elements according to the category, I'm just going to close it. And these are all the windows. I don't think these are all the windows. Perhaps we have a specific requirement over here. So I'm going to go to edit and check it out. Okay. Perhaps I can just preview the result. Okay, yes, there you go. Okay, so these are all the windows that we have in the model. And this is for filters. Okay. Of course, these filters can be shared. What we're trying to do is that we're trying to make the process easier. And that's why we can share these filters with other projects. Also, we can export them. So if I choose a filter set from here, I can export it in JSON and then, of course, import it to another project as a JSON file. Let's say you don't want to export, then we can just click on Manage Sharing, choose another project from here, click on Share, and of course, all these filter sets will be shared over there. Okay, so the next part would be validate. So in the validation part, with verified, we have different types of checks. As I told you, we're not limited to clash detection. There are plenty of tools out there that can do clash detection. We can do it in a simpler way, yes, and I can show you real quick. For instance, if I go to the clash check, it's always like if you would like to have some clashes and you would like to see a lot of clashes, then as always, we can have our mechanical model clashing with our structural or the architectural one. Now the clash check over here, as you can see from the name, ducts versus columns and the structural framings. So if I go to edit, you can see in a very straightforward the process, I'm creating this check. So in the beginning, we need to specify the base filters, which I'm adding over here as ducts. As for the colliding filters, they're going to be the structural columns and the structural framing. Regarding tolerance, it depends on the clash matrix or the project requirements that you have. I'm going to click on save and then run it from here. And then verify will show us all the possible clashes between these three categories as the base filter for ducts and the colliding filters for the other structural elements. Okay, there are no results. Let me go to edit and see real quick. Okay, yes. And that's because we didn't have the mechanical model. As you can see, I only have architectural and structural. So I'm just going to add the HVAC since we're working with ducts. Okay, let's reset the view. There you go. Even the spaces you can see, they just disappeared. Now we go to rules and then we run it one more time. Of course, in order to have your rules working, you need to make sure that the model is loaded properly. So these are the clashes. We have 11 clashes in total between the structural elements and the ducts. So here we have some round ducts which are clashing with the framing. Over here also we have a small clash, and I think this is like an insulation. So yeah, in some cases this might be approved. But this is how the clash check would look like on verified. Okay. So as I mentioned in the slides, we can also do data validation. To do that, we can use the property check. And I've already created some checks over here. For instance, we would like to make sure that the fire rating property is not empty for the walls. Let's see how this property check was created. So in the beginning, we specify the rule type. It's going to be a property check. And then for filters, I'm using walls. So the only thing that I'm checking over here is walls, whether they have the fire rating property or not, or actually if the fire rating property is not empty. So let me run it. Okay, so we don't have anything wrong. That's good. So all the fire rating properties, all the fire rating properties for these walls are not empty. So what we can do is that perhaps we can change the argument. Let's say equals, and let's say 2 hours. So we would like to make sure that the fire rating is 2 hours. Then we click on save. We run it. And there you go. It will show you the ones which actually have 2 hours. So the green ones indicate that the fire rating for these walls is 2 hours. The other ones, it might be different. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's empty or so. It might be empty, but you know, it's just, it has another value than the 2 hours. So if I go to properties from here and I would like to have a better understanding of the fire rating, then I'll just type it in the element properties and you can see, yes, NR. But for the green ones, you can see it's 2 hours. Okay, so this is one way. And of course, these results can be shown in the data viewer. All of them over here. And of course, these results can be exported into CSV and Excel. Okay, another check is the structural usage. So for the structural elements, we need to make sure that they have the load bearing property. Okay, now in Revit, it is referred to as the structural usage. And here we're gonna just make sure that it exists, because sometimes when you create the element, it might be the case that it is missing some data. So here we would like to make sure that the load bearing elements have the load bearing property. So the filters are load bearing elements, which as you can see are structural elements: beams, columns, floors, slabs, columns, foundations, and also walls. And then for the property, we're just going to use the operator exists for the structural usage property. I'm going to run it. And there you go. So the structural elements in red show that there is no structural usage property for these elements. It does not exist. But for the green ones, it does. Okay, very good. Another one is for the architectural model. So here we're going to validate the assembly code for Windows. So this is the original value for the assembly code for the Windows, and we would like to make sure that it is correct for all the windows, not all the windows, but for a specific type of Windows. So we're going to go to edit. Okay, so first let's go to the windows and see which ones are we using. We go to edit, and then you can see category. Okay, so here we're using this one. Okay, so category equals to Windows, and then we're using the and/or operator to select the double hung windows. Okay, so we're not having all the windows in the model, but a specific type of them. Save. And then for the properties that we would like to validate, it's going to be the assembly code. First, we need to make sure that it is not empty. Okay, if it's empty, we should retrieve this as an issue. And then we're going to use the AND operator to choose the assembly code again and say, check if it equals this number over here, B2020 100. So we're going to save and then run the check again. Okay, so we have 8 windows which actually have the correct assembly code, but there's one specific over here which is wrong. Okay, so if I go to the results, so you can see these are all passed except for the last one which is failed. Let's put it in the top and see what is the actual assembly code for it. So you can see the rule type, name, IFC Good Rivet, and also the assembly code. So for the ones that are actually passed, you can see this is the one that we were checking, but the one that is wrong has only B20, but the original value needs to be B2020 100. So this is how we've validated. Now this attribute over here, the assembly code, this is specific to the type. Okay, this is a type property. And that's why we were able to check it on verified, because verified can read the type attributes as well. We're not limited to shared parameters, shared attributes and all of that, but we can also read the type properties. Okay. The next one would be the free space check. Now the free space check is our tool to create an accessibility area, or I would say like a geometry, next to or in front of a specific element, or let's say above it, just to make sure that there is an accessibility area. Now the use case over here is for doors. We're not targeting all the doors, but specific ones. So let's go and edit. And as you can see, the rule type is free space check. Now our target is doors. Let's go to edit and see which doors are we targeting. Okay, so these are the ones that we're targeting using the AND operator. We went to the type name, sorry, and then we get the value. So we click on save. As for the disallowed, yeah, we want to disallow, I would say, everything. So any element over there that is not, I would say, like floors, areas, or so, should be retrieved as a clash. And these are the exceptions that we're making. As you can see, I'm selecting all the elements which are not any of areas, ceilings, floors, roofs, rooms, and also the wall sweeps. So any other element will be selected by verified. If I click on preview results for this specific filter, you can see all the elements. I'm selecting all the elements over here, like this. Okay, so let's save. And then the free space dimensions, I've already specified these ones according to the doors. As for the alignment, we're making center, front, and also center. So this means in front of the door. Okay, let's click on save and then run it. Now, of course, you see me running the clash checks and all the rules from here, like individually, but of course, just like in the property check, if I want to run them all together at once, then I just run the rule set and that's it. Okay. So this is the free space check. I'm creating it for these doors. You can see this door. Yeah, there's no obstacle, but these are the ones which have some issues. Now, I wouldn't consider these as issues because this is a lighting element, I think. Yes, this is a lighting element, and the round element or the ball that you see in front of it is actual light. So this won't be considered as a clash. Let's just check it real quick and go to properties. Okay, yes, it's a lighting fixture. Yeah, so it's okay. But as you can see over here, we're not having any obstacles except for the elements over here, the electrical ones. Okay, I think also there is like a small elements. Yes, over here. You can see if I select the element, it is actually clashing with it. But yeah, this is not the whole element. This is only the lighting. But this is how the free space check look like. The free space check is also utilized in MEP workflows for mechanical equipment, electrical equipment, and all of that. It's a powerful tool that can be used over there. Okay. And the last type of check that we have is the duplicate. Now we know when working with Revit, you might include some links, create new elements, which of course will have some issues. Sometimes you will have like two elements in the same place. Now with the duplicate check, we can validate that. So let's go to edit and see. Okay, so here we're gonna just make it simple and quick. We're gonna validate walls and framing if they don't have any duplicate in the same place. So as you can see, the filter is walls and structural framing. Let me run it. And then verified will start detecting all the walls and the framings which are in the same position with the same geometry, with the same type name to be considered as a duplicate. Because, okay, sometimes we have two elements in the same place, but they're not in the same type or the same category, but that's not a duplicate, that's a clash. But over here, you can see here we have two elements in the same place. Over here also, and over here. So these elements that we have as duplicates. Okay, and we can see in the data viewer that we have 4. So I think 1, 2, 3, and also this one. So we have 4 duplicates. And of course, I can just refer to my Revit and then fix it and then put it back. And actually, that's what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go real quick to Revit. So this is my structural model. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select one of the clashes. This is verified on the side. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select. So let's see this duplicate. Okay, so this is the element. Let's say I would like to fix this one. So I'm just gonna get the Revit ID real quick. And then go to Revit. And then just select the element real quick. I clicked on something. Okay, so let's go to manage, edit. Okay, and there you go. Yes, as you can see, indeed, there is a duplicate over here. So I'm selecting an element, but you can see there are some shadows. So I'm just gonna hit the delete. There you go, the element is deleted now. Okay, let's try to select it one more time and see if it exists. Okay, it's not there anymore. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna synchronize first the model and link it to the cloud. Okay, and then it's gonna save locally. There you go. And then I'm gonna go and just go to my Autodesk docs and share it over there. Just select the project files. Okay, so update available, and this is for the structural one, which I've just created. So I'm gonna go and just publish the latest update and the latest version of this file. If you remember, I only had 2 versions on verified. So now I just go to verified real quick and just validate. So from models, you can see I only have like 2 versions over here. Soon enough, I will have 3. Okay, there you go. That was quick. Now we have 3 versions. I want to make sure first that it was synced. Okay, so it's still processing in Revit. Okay, and how Verified is getting this information? Because Verified is connected to Autodesk Docs through BIM 360. And of course, for ACC, it's also the same. But because this project is hosted on our side on BIM 360, yes, so until it processes, we can just go one step back to Verified. So I'm gonna just show the model browser. Now, soon enough, if I reload, it will show me the structural model as grayed out. Let's see, has it? Yes, so it is published. So now on verified, all what I'm going to do is just refresh. Okay, so now we have v3, as you can see. So version 2 had that duplicate, the one which we've deleted, and version 3 doesn't contain this duplicate. So we're going to go to rules, and then I'm going to run it again. So here we should have only 2 duplicate, I think, 2 or 3 duplicate, because I've already deleted one. Yes, 2. Okay, there you go. So you can see the actual duplicate that was coming from that element. That element was resulting in 2 different duplications. You can see the rest. So the one which was existing over here is not there anymore. I was supposed to create an issue for this, but yeah, it's okay. Let's just create it real quick right here. And let's say we have this duplicate still over here. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to report. So there are 2 ways to fix your issues. You can do it just like I did it. So on the fly, you just go to the Revit file, fix it using Excel, CSV, or even BCF. If you have the BCF plugin, of course, installed on your Revit, then you can work with BCF. But we don't operate with plugins and all of that. So I recommend working with the integrations that we have. Okay, so I'm going to create an issue from here. I'm creating it on verified. So let's just move to BIM 360 instead. Okay, let's choose that project. So it exists in this hub, Snowed on Towers. Add. Do we have any issues over there? Oh, I see we already have some issues which are closed. So if I go to my BIM 360 account, I won't see them. So I go to issues over here. Yes, the issues are not over there because they are closed. So I'm going to create a new open issue, make a screenshot in different locations, of course, different positions. I'm going to give it all the other entries. So I'm going to make sure it's open so we can see it on BIM 360. And then I'm going to give it a name, duplicate, and I will assign it to myself. And of course, we can give it a due date for tomorrow. Let's save. I think I was supposed to add the owner also, but yeah, let's just see. Okay, now we can go to our BIM 360 account, refresh. Okay, there you go. So a new issue was added, an open issue, because the closed ones, you can't see them. So if I click on it, you will see the entries. So it's assigned to myself. This is the due date. And also these are the screenshots. So this is on Autodesk on BIM 360, and all of this information was retrieved from verified. And of course, what we can do with it is that we can also keep it on verified, so we can export it to BCF and then revert to our authoring tool, which is Revit in this case. So that was like a regular workflow on verified on how to check things. You can see I didn't have to download or upload anything. I was just publishing and, like refreshing and synchronizing, and that's it. So you don't need an actual place to upload and do all of this. So we try to eliminate all the manual work and make the process as much, I would say, like automated as possible. So that was the workflow of verified. So we had our files in BIM 360, then we validate them using the checks. We got the results, and of course, we were able to report the result at the end to BIM 360. So in short, we help you to automate your processes, okay? Whether it's structural, architectural, MEP, all of these ones, we try to eliminate all the manual work and inconsistency over there and try to enhance it as much as possible. And of course, all of this is in line with the ISO requirements for information management. If you would like to know more about Verified, then feel free to sign up for a demo today. And another thing that also I would like to update you with is that we're publishing our playbook, BIM model checking for everyone. It's written in dummy style, which is available, of course, in English, Dutch, and also German. So that was it from my end. If there's any question, just feel free to let me know. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you for this incredible year joining our webinars. And hopefully, we can catch up in the upcoming year with more new events and webinars from our end. Thank you very much for joining us and have a great evening ahead.